Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Anna, wait until we're invited.
Oh, for God's sake, Keller, get the hell in here.
What?
He actually sings in the shower. It's a whole
I do not.
Yes, you do.
Abby, can I take Joy to our house?
And wear a hat, please. You're just getting over a cold.
Joe, you wear a hat, too.
Where are your sisters?
I can't find them.
Anna? Joy?
Wait, I checked the entire house. They're not here.
Dad, there was this RV and they were playing on it. We thought there was someone inside.
You wait here.
Let me go.
I couldn't find them!
Detective Loki.
Do you have children, detective?
I'm gonna find your daughter.
Show me your hands right now! Huh?
You put those girls somewhere, Alex. I know you put those girls somewhere.
He stays in custody until my daughter's found, right?
We have a 48-hour hold on. It ends tomorrow unless we bring charges.
We'll charge him with something.
That boy has never been in trouble, not a day in his life.
Well, this thing's clean. I'd start looking in the woods by the rest stop.
The police said they're letting him go today.
What you doing? Tony! Oh, no! Day 6. And every day, she's wondering why I'm not there.
You told us that you could protect us from everything.
Why did you look for my daughter? Alex.
What in the world did you do?
Someone has to make him talk, or they're gonna die.
We're not gonna help Keller, but we won't stop him either. Let him do what he needs to.
I know you know where they are.
Where's my daughter?
Let's get into some more upbeat fare. You in a good mood? Well, let's change that. And I have never seen this movie before, and I kind of wanted to see it for a long time. There is so much going on with this fucking movie, like twists and turns, emotional roller coaster. This movie is like redirects you like 20 times before you get to the end of the fucking movie.
Yeah, there's parts where you think you know what's happening and then you don't think you know what's happening, and then part of what you thought actually might be true. It was a roller coaster.
Though I do got to give you credit, when they brought up the story of a missing boy from long ago, you straight up called the ending. And I know through like the twists and turns that we doubted ourselves.
That's the one I never doubted.
But when we got to the end, it ended up being the thing that you said out loud. So that's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
But we're talking about the movie Prisoners from 2013 by Denis Villeneuve, the guy who made the Dune movies. And I'm excited about part 3.
Oh, totally.
And it's written by Aaron Guzikowski, starring a ton of people. Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Viola Davis, Terrence Howard, Paul Dano, Melissa Leo, Maria Bello. Just tons of people.
Maria Bello, can we just take a moment? She's one of the most beautiful women.
I'm not saying she's not. I guess I just never didn't think about it.
Oh, I have always thought that she was very beautiful.
She doesn't do much.
No, she doesn't do much in this, but and she's very sad, so she's not like looking
which you
pretty.
Understand why.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think she's pretty hot.
This probably might be my favorite movie I've seen Hugh Jackman in too. This is probably the best I've seen him in something. But we're in the snowy woods, and Hugh Jackman's character Keller Dover is hunting with his son, and he tells him that his granddad had always taught him to be ready. Be ready. His basement, he's kind of like
he's a prepper.
He's not a super prepper, but like he's like basement full of shit. No, super prepper is I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I live underground with like rain tubes. Like this guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking like.
Okay, yeah, no, he's not that.
He's like suburbanized. But he just has a lot of shit in case things go wrong.
I think he would go do the woods thing if he didn't have small children.
Yeah.
Or a small child.
So it's him, his wife, his older son, and his daughter.
This is a son that we have seen in one other movie that we have talked about.
Goosebumps from Delaware. He's the kid from Goosebumps. That was so exciting when we made that connection.
Shut up. I got to know.
Is this a Thanksgiving movie, by the way? Because
it is. It 100 is.
It starts on Thanksgiving and then goes through the following week.
It is a Thanksgiving movie.
I love a Thanksgiving themed movie.
And but we will not be rewatching this one.
This is a real upbeat one you could show with your parents.
This is one of the most upsetting movies.
It is.
Maybe I've ever seen.
This movie, it's rated very high, and I think that's because this movie, people really have a strong reaction to this movie.
Yes.
And you'll find out why. They go to their neighbor's house, who is Viola Davis and
street.
Terrence Howard, and they have a daughter. So they're buddies with them, and they're all hanging out. And the Keller's youngest daughter, Anna, wants to go back to the house and get her red whistle. And they're like, "Don't fucking worry about it." But the sisters are going to go play outside. There's one point where there's an RV parked.
Hey, get away from that thing. Come on, let's go.
No.
I said let's go.
Stop. You can't just put somebody's stuff like that. Come on.
No, let's go. Come on.
Wait, shh. You hear that? There's somebody's in there.
All right, I don't feel like getting out of that. Let's go. Climb up in somewhere, okay?
In a neighboring house, and the sister starts climbing up the RV.
The teenage kids are there because the teenage kids, they tell the little ones not to go outside without their older siblings, and so they're with them at this point.
Someone is in that RV, and they're like, so they're enjoying their Thanksgiving, they're hanging out.
They get a little drunk.
And then they realize, the two girls, the Birches and the Dover daughter,
Joy and Anna,
who are about the same age, are gone.
Well, they said, "Can we go to the house and get the whistle again?" And the parents were like, "Yeah, but take your brother and sister with you." So, but the little girls just went. They never went and got their siblings. So this whole thing is the little girl's fault. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we blame the victims.
They didn't do what they were told, though.
Sometimes you can blame the victims.
They didn't do what they were told.
Yes, so then we meet Detective Loki, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. He's eating Chinese food, and
I love him.
And he gets a call because the RV, they notice that the RV is gone, that the sister was climbing on.
Yeah, because the brother and the dad, when they're looking, he's like, there was an RV, and immediately thinks of that, which was very smart.
Well, Detective Loki, he's eating Chinese food, and he gets a call that they're looking for an RV, and it's at a rest stop. And they approach this RV, and there's a guy in it. It's Paul Dano, and he pulls out, like freaking out, and then just drives directly into a tree, and they arrest this guy, pulling him out of the RV. They are interrogating this guy, and they go through the van, and they're trying to figure out where these girls are, but they find nothing in the RV. This guy, his name is Alex Jones, and I don't think that's an accident that his name is Alex Jones. He lives with his aunt, whose husband walked out 5 years ago, and Detective Loki is playing with this toy RV van, and she's like, he doesn't have much. Like, this is all he's got. And he's got the IQ of a 10-year-old. Hugh Jackman's character, Keller, he's confused as to why a 10-year-old, a guy with the mentality of a 10-year-old, could have a driver's license.
But he does.
And he's like, you need to charge him with something. But they don't, even though they can kind of charge him with resisting arrest, you know?
Yeah, and Jake Gyllenhaal goes to his boss and says, the dad is losing it. We need to keep this guy in custody for just give me 24 more hours. And the guy says no. Also, so this is all that guy's fault too.
I love the relationship between Jake Gyllenhaal and his captain.
Yeah.
It's so contentious. And we see Hugh Jackman's character and Jake Gyllenhaal's character kind of come undone just from the going through this process of trying to figure this all out. And there's this just blatant resentment, like the captain has to sign off on these. Like, it's up to him whether or not they're going to keep Alex in custody. It's up to him whether or not they're going to provide for surveillance on this place. And you kind of understand the captain. He's like, we don't have the money or the funds to do this at the drop of a hat. If we've got nothing on this guy, we have to let him go.
I get letting him go. I don't get not surveilling him. And I love the scene where Jake Gyllenhaal says to his boss, you told me you were going to have it surveilled. And he's like, well, I didn't. And he's like, you got to tell me. I got to know where people are. Yeah. You can't say you're going to do it and not do it. If you told me you weren't doing it, I would have fucking been there.
At moments, Detective Loki's telling him straight up like, fuck you to his captain because he's so frustrated. But you can tell that the captain is also like, he's just eating it. Like he's actually, you can tell he's actually sympathetic with Detective Loki.
He used to be him.
Yes.
You know?
He's just put in that position. So it is kind of an interesting, like, little quiet characterization here. And that character that is like eighth bill in this movie, where he's just kind of, Loki doesn't really realize it. He's just kind of letting him be Loki's scapegoat because he knows that he probably at least needs that to process this fucked up case. But Alex is being released. So Keller, he goes and meets, the press is there as well. And Keller goes nuts.
I want to talk. You're a free man. I'm a free man. Hey! Tell me what you did with him. Tell me.
They didn't cry until I left them.
What did you say? No!
No one catches it but Keller, but Alex says, they didn't cry until I left them. And then he's like, what the fuck? Well, that like fucks his brain up.
And it was so quiet that no one heard it.
And
so they can't keep him on that.
Keller's wife says, she's like, of course you understand why she's a rot. Her daughter's missing, but she's like, you made me feel so safe. You told us you could protect us from anything. And that's the thing, is like, this guy was supposed to be prepared for anything.
Yeah, but that was unfair of her. But she also at that point was sedated. Like they got her some pills and she was distraught. And I get that she wanted to blame someone. So in that moment she was blaming her husband, but he took that and like marinated in it and then decided, well, I've got to fucking do something.
He stakes out the aunt's house and he sees Alex walking the dog.
Oh, this is upsetting. And
there's one thing in the, like, the movie is showing you that there is something like extremely damaged with Alex beyond just having the mentality of a 10-year-old. Because when he's walking the dog, he lifts the leash up and kind of like tortures the dog for like a few seconds.
That was not okay.
And then sets the leash down. And then Keller then abducts Alex from the street. The dog runs off. The dog ends up getting hit by a car later.
Yeah, they don't find. I think it's the next day when they find the dog. But they and that's the no one was watching Alex when Jake Gyllenhaal was going and looking for the girls because he thought Alex was being watched.
So Keller takes Terrence Howard's character Franklin, and he's like, "I want to show you something." He goes to this abandoned building that his father used to own because his father was a prison guard who took his own life. We find that out later.
He's been saying that he's going to do something with this building, but he never has. So he doesn't let it go yet.
And he has Alex like chained up, tied up in this place. And he's like beating the shit out of him.
Just saying over and over again, tell us where they are. I know you know where they are. Where's my daughter?
And he's threatening him with a hammer. And Franklin is like, are we sure that this guy did it? Because they didn't find anything. Yeah. But are we fucking sure? We need to be really sure.
And the thing that's so crazy is the thing that's so fucking crazy, and I know we'll get there. But obviously we know he said that. Like, they didn't cry until I left them. So we know he knows something. And that's why the dad knows he knows something. And that's the part that he's right about. But this guy is not mentally equipped.
Yeah.
To deal with this situation. And Terrence Howard breaks my heart in this because he doesn't want to leave his friend. He also wants to find his daughter. But he has now been implicated in the torture of a person.
Well, there's one point where he tells his wife, Viola Davis, and the wife comes in and like is trying to like...
She tries to talk to him.
She tries to good cop the guy, even like untying him. And then he freaks out and tries to like stab people with the glass.
He's been in there for days.
He's been tortured.
He's not eaten. He's been tortured. His face is. The makeup in this is really good. He's so upsetting.
And Viola Davis essentially is like, she doesn't like it either, but she ultimately, because they don't have their children back, ultimately is like, just let him do what he's going to do.
Yeah, she goes, we're not going to help him, but we're not going to stand in his way. And as of right now, we don't know about this.
So Loki is looking up past missing children, and they uncover a boy that was taken 26 years ago, that from the same area where the RV was, the vicinity.
It was the same house.
Yeah.
It was the house that the RV was parked in front of was this child's home. So there's this thought that I think what they want you to think is that that kid got abducted in that RV.
He's also looking up past sexual predators, and he goes to this priest's house, and the priest is passed out drunk. He just lets himself in.
This is insane.
And then he goes into the basement, and there's a corpse there tied to a chair of a guy. And
mummified.
The priest basically says that this guy claimed to have killed 16 kids, and that
came to him to repent or something.
And the priest killed him because the guy said he was waging a war against God, and that offended the pedophile priest, and I guess he killed him. So yeah, there's a lot fucking
and
going
that
on
was
here.
5 years ago when the aunt's husband disappeared. I called this one too.
So there's a memorial for the girls, a candlelight vigil. They've been looking for a few days, and Loki spots a guy gently caressing one of the girls' plushes. The guy is David Desmalkian, and he makes eye contact with Loki and begins to run and gives chase, and Loki ends up losing him, essentially. And so now we're like, at this point, it's like, I guess I'm like, I don't know that Alex didn't do it or wasn't involved. Like, I'm not sure. And now it's like, this is the new creepy guys that we're
how
hunting
is this
down.
guy now involved?
They go to the police, who go to the press, and they very quickly have like sketches of this guy who looks exactly like David Desmalkian. Franklin sees it, and now he's like, shit, what if Alex didn't do it? He's being fucking tortured. And he goes to Keller, he's like, they're looking for a guy.
Yeah, there's a guy.
A specific guy. And Keller's like, they're probably in on it together.
He's like, I know that Alex knows where they are.
Now, at this point, if Keller beats Alex further, he'll kill them.
Yeah.
So he builds this room structure around him that is rigged up to where
he can only stand.
He can't totally like lay down. He can only maybe like lean or something.
It's like he's in a coffin that is upright.
And there's these levers that can instantly give either super fucking cold water or scalding hot water. So he's like, I can't beat him anymore because I'll kill him. So I'll just leave him in here for days and then just go alternate between scalding and freezing water until this guy can say something.
I'm not sure how he didn't almost like starve to death. I mean, I guess he could drink the cold water that's being put upon him, but Keller's not feeding him. Keller's not letting him go to the bathroom. Like the man is in there. This was
You didn't like this?
I didn't like this. I mean, and it's made
so
much more worse when you do get to the end and you figure out what everything that's happening.
Well, you're not a father.
Listen, I'm not a father, but I also, it's one thing to be like, I understand that he didn't want to just kill him. It's not like revenge because he doesn't know where the girls are. But it's literally some of the worst torture that just like an average person can do to someone.
Yeah.
With just an abandoned house and some power tools.
Detective Loki gets word at a thrift store, and they tell them that the guy comes into the thrift store and he buys children's clothes in various sizes.
And once he got caught doing things to some of the mannequins, whatever that means, it's upsetting.
And we get a scene where we know it's Bob, he sneaks into...
The creepy guys are always named Bob, aren't they?
What? He sneaks into like the Birches and the Kellers' houses, and it's not clear why. Like, oh my God, is he going to kill someone? But he's just taking items from the girls' rooms and escaping. And
we don't know that at this point, but yes, that's what he's doing.
I pretty much figured that out pretty quick. If he's like not going to attempt to hurt anyone, what's he doing there?
Well, it's at this point, if you think he did it, he's obsessed with that.
Yeah, so it's like a serial killer.
So he wants to go
back.
see where they were. He's going to like feel their pain or whatever. And it was scary because the teenage daughter was alone in the house, but he did, like Bob said, he was just kind of a ghost going through the house.
Loki goes over back to the Keller's place, and this is when he sees the basement of the Keller's place, which is full of like prepper stock shit, bags of lye, where if you want to dispose of a corpse, lye is a very helpful thing.
There's a half-used bag of lye, which gives him pause.
Which,
Keller explains it.
Yeah, that it was like a pet of theirs that passed a while back.
But also, that's kind of fucked up.
It's like, yeah, I just bury them or get them cremated.
Yeah.
But the prepper basement just gets Loki. You're very sympathetic with Loki in the sense because, I mean, you maybe have this idea that he knows everything of what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But he's actually going through, like, he's getting spun around just like we are. I mean, he's a capable detective. And they say at the beginning that he's good at solving cases.
He's never not solved a case. He's always solved his cases.
But as much as he's sincere and trying hard, he's as confused as we are.
Well, and also, when you stop to think about it, in the middle of this, he found a mummified man in a priest's basement. Like, it's going... you kind of even forget about that until he gets a call and he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, did you get an ID on that guy? You know, like, they just...
Also, Alex is missing, and he suspects Keller has something to do with that.
And he goes to the house at one point, but he doesn't fucking go in it. He follows Keller. Why didn't he go in to try to see what Keller was doing? He goes in later, but there's an early time when Keller's at Keller's parks in a liquor gas station.
He's trying to follow Keller, and Keller realizes he's being followed.
Yeah.
And then Keller just walks into a gas station, and then he goes and confronts Loki. He's like, why are you following me?
No one different. It hasn't been a fucking week. You're right. It hasn't been a week. 6. Day 6. And every day, she's wondering why I'm not there to fucking rescue her. All right. Do you understand that? Right. Me, not you. Not you, but me. Every day. All right. So forgive me for not going home to have a good night's rest. Now why didn't you look for my fucking daughter rather than fucking...
Keller also is taking his first drink in 9 years at this point. He's coming apart at the scenes. He's an alcoholic. Now, he's not coming home. He told his son at the beginning of all this to be a man and watch for the house. And his son is watching him like completely unravel. Only his neighbors know that he's torturing a human being. And at one point, Loki he knows that he owns this property and he goes there.
Finally.
And Keller shows him around, but Alex is, I don't know, maybe passed out or something, makes no sound.
And Loki gets a call.
He gets a call, so Loki has to leave.
And he goes to Bob's house, right?
And that's when because the thrift store calls and they ID the guy, and he goes to Bob's house and he's got these containers and he opens them up and there's snakes, like big black snakes and rat snakes, and like children's clothes covered in blood. There's a pig head in the sink. So
and there's mazes drawn all over all of the walls. And there is like a maze book, and at the end it says, if you solve all the mazes, you can go home. That's like the last thing he finds in the boxes. Now
Bob is in custody. They're saying that like Bob will say something after he finishes a maze or something. Bob is like off the rails.
He's supposed to be drawing a map, but he's like not okay. He's not okay.
So Loki loses his shit waiting for this guy to finish his little project to give information. Apparently the guy said he did kill the girls, but he's not saying where bodies are or anything. Mm-hmm. So Loki goes in there and he just starts attacking the guy. And when other cops go to pull Loki off of him, David Dastmalchian's character Bob grabs one of their guns and blows his fucking brains out.
Yeah.
And that really just sets Loki back mentally, like, tremendously. Now we go back to Keller torturing Alex, and he hears Alex say, "I'm not Alex. I just wanted to play."
And then he eventually does say they're in the maze, but Keller doesn't know what that means. And he doesn't know that Dastmalchian, I think it's Dastmalchian, has been drawing mazes.
Loki flips the fuck out and he like is just trashing his desk, and then he sees on one of his photographs the guy who's in the priest's basement. He's wearing a maze necklace. Mm-hmm. And he knows that there's mazes all over this shit. Mm-hmm. Keller is trying to offset his personal guilt from torturing Alex because he does have some self-doubt as to whether or not he's innocent. He goes to the aunt's house, and the aunt tells him about their history.
Very devout at one time. It's Spent our summers driving around in that camper with our son, handing out pamphlets, spreading the good word. After our son died of cancer, we started seeing things differently. Adopting Alex helped. Oh, we never got over it.
And Keller knows something regarding these mazes as well. And Keller, he leaves then and he comes back later. Oh, Joy. They found Joy. She ran out. And this is when Joy's recounting her story of escaping. And she's like in the hospital, like, you know, sedated. And Keller is like freaking out, wanting, because his daughter is still missing. When we get that flashback of Joy escaping, didn't it look like there were multiple people involved? Isn't there like some kind of a conspiracy here? If like the priest is the priest didn't abduct those girls, but he is kind of connected in that he knew these. In the flashback, it looked like there was multiple people involved.
I think the only people that I think were involved in that moment is the person who is holding them and the other little girl. The priest, I don't think knew who this guy was. It just happened to somehow work out. That's one of the things about this story that is like a little too much of a reach for me, that Loki went to the house and found this guy. I don't think the priest knew anything.
Well, there's a logic to that. He actually went to the house of everyone who was convicted of child sex crimes.
I know that, but just the fact that guy was in that guy's basement, like it's just a lot. It's just a lot. But I don't think the priest knew anything. And I think what we were seeing was the girls being moved from where they were being held to the house.
So Keller also knows that there's something to do with mazes and shit too, because Alex is like
the maze.
About the maze. Keller, he goes back to the aunt's house again and offers to fix some things that are broken in the house. And then he sees a picture of her husband that she said was gone for 5 years. And he sees that the husband is wearing the necklace that was on the corpse. She's wearing the necklace in the picture that was on the corpse in the priest's basement.
So when he went out 5 years ago and never came back, he had gone to the priest to try to... The priest said he came there to confess or to get absolved or whatever. But there was also this bit in the middle where they think the girls have died because of the David Dastmalchian thing, but we find out that like...
He was using pig's blood, by the way.
He was using pig's blood.
He was faking it.
And we find out that he was also a victim in the same way these girls are, but he solved all the mazes, so they let him go.
Right, so
but
he was
fucked
a
him
part
up.
of it.
He was abducted because they say at one point like he's the only one that they let go.
Well, the aunt pulls a gun on Keller
And starts explaining all of this.
So we took Alex. He was the first kid we ever took. His name was Jimmy. Or Barry. Can't remember. Doubt he can either. So many names. Forgot all about Bobby Taylor till I read about him in the paper. Get in the driver's seat.
It's kind of wild. Like, she's like, when their children died, I mean, obviously they're inherently unhinged, but when their child died, they decided to abduct and kill children.
Making children disappear is the war we wage with God. Makes people lose their faith. Turns them into demons like you. Had to slow down since my husband disappeared. But I do what I can. Start the car.
On a war against God.
Yeah.
This is basically like some weird satanic conspiracy.
It is. And she was like, you know, I had to slow down after I lost my husband.
She has him drink some beverage to sedate him and makes him go into this hole, and that's where they held his daughter. Oh, and there was one thing where, and we understand this now, where she's half dazed trying to tell Keller what she knows, and she's like, you were there. And what she ended up meaning was that he had been to the house and they had heard, but they had tape on their mouths and they were probably sedated and they couldn't do anything. But when she said you were there, to Keller, it'd be like, is she saying that I helped abduct him? No, she was saying like, we heard you arrive and we were in the house. But now Keller is in a hole because he thinks complying with this woman is his only chance to save his daughter. And it's really creepy. He finds like children's clothes in this hole and the red whistle that his daughter wanted. Well, Loki is, he
goes to the house where they're holding Alex.
He frees Alex.
Yeah.
And he kind of wants someone else to go to the aunt's house to tell because he sees it as like, just some basic legwork.
Let him sit down for a minute.
But the captain's like, no, go to the aunt's house and tell her what's going on and that we have Alex. He arrives, and then that's when Loki, I believe he also sees the picture or something.
Yeah.
But the
aunt is in the process of killing the little girl.
She doesn't answer the door, but the door's unlocked. He just walks in. He does this like 3 times in this movie. He just walks in the house.
But she's got a syringe.
And the aunt's about to inject Anna with something, and Keller shoots the aunt, but the aunt manages to graze him, and he like the bullet grazes his head, which would be equivalent of like getting punched real fucking hard on the side of the head. I mean,
or a cut.
But like getting hit hard.
Oh, sure.
But not shot through.
Yeah.
And so he's like fucked up, but Anna might die, and he's driving Anna like crazy through the rain, but he does manage to get her to the hospital.
Because he doesn't know if this stuff got into her blood or not.
And the wife is there, but Keller is missing, and the wife's like, if you find my husband, he's going to go to jail, right? And he's like, yeah, probably. And she's like, you probably don't believe me, but I don't know where he is. And Loki's like, no, I believe you. But she thanks him because she finally has her daughter back. The movie ends on they're digging up evidence because the hole that Keller is in, there's like an Oldsmobile on top of it and a board. And you'd have to move the card to be able to see the board there to move it.
And they're starting to dig to look to see if they can find evidence around, but they haven't moved this car yet. They don't know this thing is there. But guess what else was in the hole with him?
A whistle.
The red whistle.
Which I had said earlier.
I didn't remember you said that, but the whistle was there.
So, but as he sends the evidence guys home to come back another day because the ground's too hard, you faintly hear a whistle.
I knew it was going to happen before it happened.
And Loki hears it, and that's the end of the movie. I thought, and maybe you can still assume this, like maybe Loki doesn't figure it out.
No,
well, I mean,
he does.
Loki kind of solves the case basically on accident.
Oh, yeah.
He just stumbles in at the right place at the right time. And I kind of had this idea that, like, well, Keller is probably going to die in this fucking hole, and that will be like the weird side bit of justice for what he did to Alex.
And in 5 years, someone will find him in that hole.
And then he will find him in that hole. But the ending does imply that Loki did hear the whistle.
Yeah.
And
because he knows these girls were held here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It seemed like they would have found that
if he didn't die first.
They would have had to clear all that shit out eventually.
Yeah, but it was
hopefully,
cold.
But hopefully you would have done it before he froze to death or like starved to death. So, but that's Prisoners. That's a fucking wild rigmarole of a movie. This is a movie you can't really get out of your head once you see it. And so it's at least a 4 to me. I think I can go a 4.25 for me. Because this has that like super dark modern neo-noir feel to it. It's a crime movie. You know how I love that shit. I love a crime thriller. And yeah, you can't forget this movie, even as convoluted, and it is a maze in its own right, but nobody was actually in a literal maze either. It was just people obsessed with mazes.
Yeah.
But no one was actually in a maze. So when Alex said she's in the maze, she wasn't literally in a maze. But again, he's brain damaged or something. But I'm a 4.25.
I, on this one, am going to go 3.5.
That's a 7.75?
Yeah.
So the same score as Jack
Reacher
for
Prisoners.
Prisoners! Feel good movie. Watch it with the family.
The title doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does.
It does.
There are literally 5 prisoners in this movie.
Okay, yeah.
5 prisoners.
There's 4.
Anna.
Mm-hmm.
Joy.
Mm-hmm.
Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Bob.
Yep.
And then Keller.
Oh, and then Keller. Yeah.
I don't understand why that's a hang-up.
Because to me, part of it is you don't know if they're dead or alive, and calling it prisoners kind of like told me they're gonna live. I felt like it was a giveaway. So, like, it makes sense, but I just think it's a bad name. I think it's a bad name.
Yeah. Well, are you?
I can have that opinion.
Did you take like points off for the name?
No, it was a lot of things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't recall Prisoners outright ever saying the town name, but according to Wikipedia, the movie is set in a fictional Pennsylvania town called Conyers. Finding the equivalent setting of Conyers requires a region of lush forests and rolling hills, which is plentiful in western and central PA. As the Appalachian mountain range encompasses much of the state, much of the Pennsylvania Appalachian landscape embodies a portion of the range known as the Ridge and Valley, which extends through almost the entirety of Appalachia. But it's right atop this specific region that geologists call Pennsylvania's Appalachian Folds that we find the perfect stand-in for the fictional Conyers, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. More specifically, the Metropolitan Statistical Area of Williamsport/Lock Haven, which consists of a string of townships across the counties of Lycoming and Clinton. The unfortunate neighborhood that the Dover, Birch, and Jones families reside, we're going to place this little pocket neighborhood across the river in South Williamsport at the tail ends of East 2nd and Allen Avenues. The police department where Loki bickers with Captain O'Malley, we put right on West 4th Street. For the abandoned building where Carrie tortures the intellectually disabled, we actually found an abandoned building that could fit that description on 1663 Memorial Avenue. And finally, we go where we first meet Detective Loki when he's in a vaguely Asian restaurant that looks like a little cafe more so than a takeout counter. So it makes sense to place that location at Umi's Noodles on 317 Pine Street. But it probably goes without saying that there's a mysterious darkness to the town whose mystery might attribute to its regionality. Helen Jones explained to Keller that her and her husband had lost their faith when their child passed away from cancer. The worst kind of thing that could happen to a family. You understand how that would break any parent. But the Jones didn't necessarily lose their faith. They still believed in God. They just decided to go to war against him by abducting and killing children. At least 16, according to the pedophile priest who had the corpse of Mr. Jones in his basement. The story of Prisoners makes for dark lore worthy of the Appalachian Hills. Even though the usual Appalachian cultural representation seems to be mostly centered in the U.S. South, the northern hills of Pennsylvania have plenty of their own lore. If you happen to be from the Williamsport area, you might consider that the missing children could have been taken by the Gawaggle, the official monster of Clinton County.
What?
The Gawaggle is kind of like a werewolf with bird claws for hands and horse hooves for feet. The Gawaggle was supposedly conjured by a witch who was killed by a guy named Loop Hill Ike, who's actually a real person whose real name is Isaac Gaines. People still occasionally claim to see the Gawaggle, the hooved feet reminiscent of the Jersey Devil. It definitely sounds like something that would eat children.
Yeah, but it's called the Gawaggle.
If kids got too close to the Susquehanna River, they could risk getting snatched by the Susquehanna seal, aka the Kettle Creek Monster, a marine-type creature said to have the bulk of an ox or a hippopotamus. Lore of this creature comes from Native American accounts, with later accounts claiming the creature would howl loudly into the night. That's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Appalachian creatures of the northern Appalachians. We haven't even gotten into the Squonk or the Albert Witch. You could go on, but I do think that Prisoners, while I don't know where it was actually filmed, is our first true Appalachian movie. Though technically, Pittsburgh is also within the Appalachian Range, within the Allegheny Plateau, and has the nickname of the Paris of Appalachia. But it seems on the cultural edge, embodying a personality more akin to the Rust Belt style west of the Ohio River. Further east of the Ohio Valley is where we will qualify, though I honestly haven't completely made up my mind on including Pittsburgh or not in our Appalachian sub-selections. I don't know, do you think Pittsburgh is part of Appalachia? Maybe you should look at maps later and tell me.
I'll look at maps.
You'll probably say yes. I mean, technically it is.
Well, if it is.
But the culture shifts, you know. Pittsburgh is,
I mean, it's,
you don't picture Pittsburgh being like, say, you know,
it's not like East Tennessee.
like Asheville or something, right?
Yeah.